Fired up footballers, welcome back to another episode of Spitting Postgame. Real quick, as always, he bagged another one. No Nico, no party.
No Nico, no party.
I believe
Second
that
game in a row.
Yeah, 2 games in a row. Very, very good to see Nico scoring. James made a good comment real quick about Nico. It's probably hard to for him to find a rhythm playing with Alexander Katai.
Well, just because he's the only focal point of the offense, and he's kind of a stutter-stop type of player where you don't know when he's going to be getting rid of the ball just because that's this type of creative player
Hence
he is.
why he's offsides, because he should play the ball a little bit quicker, but he's dribbling a little bit.
He's a dribble creative rather than a passing type creative.
Exactly. But anyways, so the Fire lost 3-2. Unfortunately, that they lost to Vancouver. The stats would suggest otherwise, though, and I thought that was surprising. Vancouver had 35% possession, while Chicago Fire had 65%. 14 shots on goal, 7 of those on target for Vancouver. 16 shots on goal, 4 of those on target for the men in red. Total passes, 329 for Vancouver, 81% of those were completed. 610 for the men in red, 88% of those were completed.
610, that's probably one of their most tallies of passes this year.
Exactly. And then crosses, this is a little bit different. 13 for Vancouver, 24 for Chicago. And that was very good for them. Definitely helped their offensive output.
And 16 shots, like you said earlier, that's more than the 12 or 14 that they've been putting up.
Yeah, so the offense was humming a little bit, but still on the offense. Corners, 3 for Vancouver, 6 for Chicago. Now here's where it differentiates a little bit. Vancouver had won 59 aerial duels compared to Chicago's 35. And that's probably because our back line, in fact, just our whole team is just very small and very slow. So, I mean, when you have a guy like Kai Kamara up there, I mean, we've seen it before with big, bruising, poaching strikers. I mean, that back line really struggled. And then they put in another guy. What was his name? Much? I mean, Much?
Jordan
Much, I believe his name was. Not even a real starter. I wonder if he started, a regular starter. I wonder if he started because he's just a big player, and he made an impact. So that was unfortunate. And then clearances, 39 for Vancouver, for 9 for Chicago. So, yeah, 2 glaring defensive stats right there, James. What do you think?
The Fire are not tall enough on that back line. And at the beginning, it looked like Pano was going to deploy a 5 in the back system, or maybe a 3-5-2. It really ended up turning into a 4-3-3 with Brandon Vincent as that main center back with Campbell. And the outside wing backs were Corrales and Ellis, who ended up having one of his better games and ended up assisting on 2 of the goals. But I do question, short of those 2 outputs for him, where he had a good pass for the first one, really good pass, and great creation between him and Brant Bronico, between his ability to bring down Ellis's ability to bring down that ball, beat that man, and get that pass into Nico. That was a great play by him. The second one, where he just knocked down the ball to Chani.
And then he just basically touched it to Chani, and Chani ripped and hit a wonder strike. And then there's Jorge Corrales, who's looked very suspect this last game.
Yes.
Losing the ball. First touch was a little off, which is uncharacteristic. And again, just another small player. And then Brandon Vincent was woefully bad. I mean, there's a couple of moments where his 1v1 defending, I mean, he wasn't trying at all, and he's late and just ripping guys down. And he just is. We've been saying this for a while now. We've been saying this for a while now. He is not a center back, and he's starting to hurt. You know, that back line is hurting because of it. And Campbell, I thought Campbell actually was pretty good. He probably was one of the better defenders back there. Yeah. Definitely made his fair share of mistakes like they all did, but I think Campbell probably had the best game. But that back line, I mean, again, only 9 clearances, 35 aerial duels compared to 59 aerial duels and 39 for Vancouver. So
that's been prototypical of this team this year, though, just that lack of height, but a lack of winning these 50-50s. And I don't even think it comes down to lack of height, because there's shorter teams that they've played, and they've still gotten beat out by these aerials. It comes down to these players wanting it and being in the right position and being set up for those types of things. And like when you have a short back line, you're going to probably lose a lot more aerials just because you're set up for success in that way. You're not set up for success in that way.
Exactly, and it's really evident that that's the Fire's weakness right now. I mean, the bin 3 with Bronico, Basti, and Dax, I mean, more than generally speaking, they're good. They've been good each game. Nico and Katai, they're scoring goals, and then we have enough guys, like you said, that we can roll through.
Fill-in winger.
You know, right now, who started last game? It's Campos. It's been Lucho. So I guess he'll keep rolling. Someone should pan out, but really that back line just is struggling for us right now. So really the first 15 minutes, I think the Fire were struggling. They came out a little flat. came out a little flat, looked a little, they weren't sharp at all. But then after on the 20th minute mark, they kind of took over possession, and I was actually surprised that they had 65% possession the whole game. I guess that's because they really just didn't look sharp. They just didn't look quick in that first half, but that really changed the second half. But,
well, if you think about it, yeah, they did have a lot of possession, but what were they doing with it? What was their threats? Remember that interchange where Basti just was holding the ball for like 20 seconds, like at the 30-yard line, essentially. Mm-hmm. And we started talking. I'm like, wow, they are getting some, they're getting some good possession here. But then they would, do what it was? Where they just slow it down and they can't find that insertion zone. They can't create those grade A chances.
I think Katai, I'm sorry for cutting you off. I think Katai also struggled today. I think this was one of his worst games.
That's why he was pulled off early.
In a lot of our offense is just isolation ball to Katai, and that really wasn't working that first half.
Houston Rockets ball, you're right.
But let me say
get to that first goal.
So yeah, the first goal came in the 27th minute mark. Let me read what I have. Oh yeah, so it was my god, turnover. There was a turnover. I'm sorry, my apologies. Chicago Fire turnover, which led to a through ball.
Great saves by Richard Sanchez, actually, to lead off the couple of the plays too.
Yeah, Kai Kamara was a through ball to Kai Kamara. Corrales was late. Davies won that second ball. Like you said, Richard made that save. And then Kai Kamara was just there in the end to finish it. So,
on the end of that rebound.
Boom. It was 0-1, just like that in favor of Vancouver. Bad start. Really unfortunate start, especially because from kickoff, Fire actually created an opportunity.
Excuse me. But the biggest thing and it's been one of the most consistent things out of the Fire we've seen this year is their ability to respond.
And they did
when they get scored upon. One of the best things we could say about this team is that they do not go down swinging. They do go down swinging if they are going down. They're going to try and take you with them, or even beat you at your own game. And they have the ability to punch back. And we saw that again this game, where all of a sudden.
Yeah, and then they scored. So it took a little bit. I'm sorry, I missed that cue that I was thinking in my head there. But yeah, and then in the 42nd minute, the men in red finally scored. It was a Dax throw-in. Brownico had that cheeky little flick to Ellis. Ellis drove end line, played a negative ball.
Was able to bring it down too under pressure.
Yep, he played a negative ball to Nico, and Nico just pounded it, and boom, just like that, right before halftime, a huge energy burst, and the Fire were tied 1-1.
Mm-hmm. And then the second half started. Like we said, they actually created an opportunity off the kickoff, but then, boom, it was a counter, I believe off another turnover. That's a reoccurring thing with the Fire, man. They really do struggle off turnovers. Those counterattacks, they just really struggle defending counterattacks. So it was in the 46th minute, Brownico and Ellis, they both pretty much checked to the same guy, and the extra guy was slipped in. And then Jordan Much.
It was a long ball. Yep, long ball to Jordan Much, and then Jordan Much kind of just beat Brandon Vincent out. It went over his head, and he muscled him off. Again, it would be very nice to have a very big center back there. Brandon Vincent lost that battle, and then Much just put it right past Richard Sanchez, just like that, in the 46th, 47th minute.
Brandon Vincent showed me how slow
oh my god
he was at that point. I'm like, wow, how are you getting beat by this guy? I thought you had a little bit more pace, but still. And then I realized that maybe this guy hasn't been as explosive lately.
Yeah, he did look slow. It's like he's dragging a piano.
Yeah. But and then another goal happens.
But then so the Fire maintained possession, continued possession, but then they gave up another goal.
They had possession.
A goal came way later. Again, Fire had possession, but they weren't really generating much. A goal came in the 71st minute. Unfortunately, Campbell had a turnover, and then. Davies beats Campbell one-on-one, and
good
Dax
bit of skill by Davies.
Yeah, Davies, good little player, really quick player and strong. He burst past Campbell and Dax, played a negative ball to Kamara.
Dax came in there like a bat out of heck to try and make the tackle, but he was just a little too late.
Yep, he missed it, and then Kamara was there and potted it over Richard. So,
he had a little
71st
cool minute shot. Cool
1-3 shot. Yeah, he kind of hit down on the ball, and it looked like it hit the ground, and then kind of like popped up and went over. I think it was Brandon trying to make the save. Maybe
nice bit of skill shot.
But
then, like we said, another great response by the Fire, who didn't go down. They didn't quit.
Wasn't after that point. I think Katai was subbed out in the 70th minute for Collier. And then I think I have it written down here somewhere. And then in the 75th minute, Dax came off for Chani. And then Schweinsteiger came off for Baquero.
Yep.
So it was 3-1 there. And then we had a corner. Campos. By the way, Campos had some really good corners this game. Really took some very good services.
Yeah, something I've been looking for, and finally we're starting to see that good service.
Yeah, we both have been clamoring for opportunities off corners, and it happened. And it was a ball that was cleared, and then Ellis just barely taps it. Chani just turns around and just hits a wonder strike inside netting.
His first touch of the game, too, probably.
Against his old team.
Against his old team. Doesn't celebrate, puts
classy.
his hands up, classy move.
Classy move.
But also, besides that little bit of skill shot, a lot of good stuff I saw from Chani this game.
I agree.
Just being in the right place. He was playing Dax's position, so maybe that's why he was having a bit more success.
Would you say the last couple of games Chinese looked better when he's come in?
Looked a little bit better. Yeah. Way more solid, a little bit more reliable coming off the bench.
I agree. Definitely looked better. And then Chicago Fire actually had a couple opportunities at the end. I believe a couple of header opportunities. I know Campbell had one. And then who else? There was another header.
Nico had one off a corner, but it wasn't off his head. It was a shot.
Chani could have had a brace. And so, unfortunately, the Fire lost 2-3 and dropped points against Vancouver. So, and then they moved out of playoff contention with that loss. So that's unfortunate. So what do you think, James?
Oh, how many more times does Schweinsteiger have to get head-to-head contact for the refs to start calling the cards on these guys? Because they're coming in so hard on Schweinsteiger. It's like it seems like we're seeing this almost every game where Schweini is, and it's not his fault. But I mean, it's like every game somebody's coming in real hard with the head-to-head contact against Schweinsteiger. I'm starting to see twice at least in this game, and I was like, break out the car, come on! I just want to try to protect Schweinsteiger.
I would say. I feel like the Fire, the underlying stats look pretty good. I mean, they had the possession, they created some opportunities, and then they were just a little unlucky at the end. It's really, I think that back line is just really bogging them down right now. I mean, it seems like they've been scoring some goals the last couple of games, but they've just been letting way too many up. So Pono really has to figure out that back line, and Richard has looked shaky sometimes this season too. So the Fire are just letting too many goals up now, and they're scoring some. They are scoring some. They have some dangerous players, but again, that back line is just too leaky. I mean, what do you think about that, James?
All the same, despite not getting the result this game and having some up and down results, they've been pretty solid, and they seem to be trending in the right direction. Paunovic seems to be trending them in the right direction.
It's so close.
Interesting comment by one of the MLS writers, Stexel. He even said that he thinks that Paunovic should be up for Coach of the Year just for his ability to put these pieces together that are clearly maybe not good enough compared to the rest of the league, what the rest of the league is dealing with, and what the results he's getting from maybe talent that from other coaches, they wouldn't be able to get this response.
See, I disagree with him. Case in point, last game, we have one true center back. What does he decide to do? Play a 3 center back system. It's like, why do you do that?
You have one true center back who gets in a car accident, and hopefully.
No, I'm saying Campbell was the one true.
Well, I was saying Johan Kappelhoff is the other true center back, and he is okay from his little car accident that happened. But all the same.
But still, why? If you have one center back, why do you play a 3 center back system? It doesn't make sense.
And also seeing the things that we've been seeing from those backline while Johan's been out, who's been the best center back? Both those games that he's been out. Campbell's been clear. So I mean, leaps and bounds above Brandon Vincent.
I think Pono's done okay, but we've dropped some points from his selection at times.
That whole back line is a debacle, and you can't get away with playing Brandon Vincent back at center back. If you're trying to find a way to keep him on the field, take Corrales off because Corrales is not great.
I think that's the next move.
He didn't.
That's the next move.
Well, let's do player to player.
Richard Sanchez, Jamesy.
Richard Sanchez had a couple great monster saves in this game. Absolute monster, just like wow. And off Key Kamara on a breakaway where he just managed to put the touch on it.
And it hit the post.
Oh, wow. It was just some, even on the goal that he ended up giving up, he saved 2 ridiculous shots. It didn't end up going in the back of the net because it bounced out to Kamara.
So it sounds like you're saying okay game for Richard Sanchez.
I thought it was a great game for Richard Sanchez. His distribution,
it's always,
always a little questionable. Okay. It wasn't the worst this game, but there was still a few moments where it just doesn't put them in the great position because he's just giving away the ball, and just it just doesn't help when you're constantly giving away the ball. But the Fire do have a propensity to play out of the back, so it limits his mistakes. And maybe increases the high wire act that we've seen.
Sometimes I would like Richard just, I know right now there's a trend in soccer to play out of the back, right? The numbers suggest, hey, keep the ball whenever you can. That's why you also see a lot of teams play short on free kicks. But sometimes I just don't like Richard's, when Richard's on the ball. So sometimes I would like him to see him punt that. But anyway, Brandon Vincent, like we said, poor game. Dude's not a center back. Dude's not strong enough, not fast enough. He's just not a center back. And he's not commanding, communicating back there, and he's late. And when you're late, that means you're thinking. And it goes to show he's not a center back. He should be slotted out wide for Corrales.
It's been said for a while now that Brandon Vincent at center back experiment should have been over games ago.
And that goes back to Pano. He's always late on this stuff.
Yeah.
He's always late on stuff that is so
late on these
obvious.
Clear, obvious things.
Brandon Vincent, that experiment should have ended matches ago.
Lillard might be injured or have a knock, and then can you really rely on Christian Dean?
No.
This is the lineup that Nelson Rodriguez has given him. He's given him sub-foot center backs, sub-6-foot center backs.
Campbell, Jamesy.
That are also USL caliber, not necessarily true MLS caliber. Campbell, great game, was their best center back. Once again, begging the question of why does Paunovic not trust this guy? Ellis put in his best another great performance from Ellis, even though
my quarrel with Ellis is a lot of his balls whenever he plays forward, a lot of those passes don't connect, and when he dribbles, a lot of those dribbles don't really work out. A lot of his possession is just going backwards, and that's the problem I always have with Ellis. And then when they switched to a 4-3-3 and you actually saw him going forward, I mean, that's when you saw him really going backwards. But a blind squirrel finds it now and then, and I guess he did twice. And he got 2 assists. And what does he have? 2 goals now and 2 assists?
Two goals, 2 assists.
Career year for Kevin Ellis. So, hey, maybe we're wrong. But again, the eye test for me, I just don't think he's a right back.
Eye test for me, I agree with you. He's not a right back, but he also is doing what Paunovic is telling him to do. Because in the beginning of the season, he wasn't doing that offensive stuff where he's going up way more now. He's being a bit more aggressive.
So that from
that's what created that goal for Nikolic. And we didn't see that so much in the beginning of the season. Yeah, maybe we saw it at times.
Point.
But so
if he does that more, that's a good point.
So Ellis is responding to Paunovic and doing Paunovic's instructions. Is what I'm saying.
He hasn't played for a while. He really hasn't played for a while.
So you're just taking.
Let's go Corrales. I think we both agreed. Poor game for Jorge.
Not a great game.
Not really involved.
Okay, not really great.
Defensively, he was late on some tackles and some marks.
He's an excellent
I just don't think you really get much out of Jorge Corrales. I think there's got to be a better option there at left back, and that's got to be Brandon Vincent. Where do you want to go next, James?
Let's go to Dax. Dax with a great game doing what he had to do, just being the what's the word I'm looking for?
Engine, journey. What do you
the
want?
guy who's just the stops.
The N'Golo Kante.
The N'Golo Kante, where the buck stops, and they're doing the dirty work essentially for the team.
Exactly.
Finding Schweinsteiger, who serves as that link, and then with Brand Bronico serving as almost like that fire starter from the link.
Yeah. The dude just keeps running. James, do you have a problem with Pono subbing Bosny and Dax out?
No, some people said it might have been not going for it at that point, but you know what? They already were down 3-1, and they're playing on turf. They want to try and go for this win on Wednesday. They're already in Vancouver,
which is a haul,
which is a heck of a haul, and they know they have a home game upcoming on this Wednesday that they got to respond to and be ready for it. If they could get a little bit more out of those guys come Wednesday in a win, maybe that's going to be better served in this already loss. So he puts a couple of the kids out there. The kids are kids, and they managed to get a goal right after they subbed these guys
one strike
off.
from Chani. But going back to those 3 in the mid, I think they were a little flat, they weren't sharp in the beginning of the match, but as the match went forward, they definitely became more engaged and much more sharp and crisp with their passes.
Yeah, Dax was okay, and Brandt almost does more than all 3 of those guys when it comes offensively.
That's an interesting thing.
Basti,
what do you guys think? Do you think Brandt is doing more than Dax or Basti? What do you guys think?
He just drives forward with the ball a bit more dangerously. Now, Basti has a propensity when he gets the ball to hold on to it, and we're seeing that.
Slow it down.
He slows it down so much, and sometimes that's great, but sometimes he slows it down a little lot too much.
little lot too much.
And he often is doing that. Maybe that could be throwing things off. Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know, but
yeah.
But
I hear what you're saying.
But Basti, I've seen him slow things down to the point where maybe he's not being as effective as he could be either.
I hear what you're saying.
With his because he's relied to be the focal point, the creative, and he's not that creative. Maybe he's not that. He's not.
He's more of just a possession, switch the field.
He's
kind
such
of guy,
a center mid,
and he can score some goals. Yeah,
and he's being asked to play cam. Brandt is much more of a cam than Basti
I would say so. I think that's fair. Campos, I think Campos flashes. I mean, he has really good flashes, and then he kind of disappears. James was like, "Has Campos touched the ball?" And I was like, "No, I think you just haven't noticed because he had a haircut." But no, he definitely lulls in and out of the game. But when I checked the stats, he was on the ball quite a bit. He was pretty positive going forward, and he's dangerous. But yeah, I think an okay game of Campos. But he definitely needs to be more productive. I mean, he just doesn't ever get to that unlock that final third. Making a run, dribbling, and losing the ball in the final third, that's not good enough anymore. He's got to finally unlock and start getting some assists and start getting some goals.
Consistency to his finishing, or to his finishing of the play that
run.
He's making.
He's got to finish the run.
Finish the run out. Finish the pass off. Finish the cross out.
Yes.
Better service on corner picks.
His corners were great
today, which was great. We've been wanting to see that because we've been hearing for a long time that this kid is great at set pieces, and we really haven't seen too much of that.
Brandon, we've seen Katai, and now I think it's
and
Campos.
Campos.
And now it's Campos' turn. Nico
got a goal.
We alluded to this when the episode started. I think it's definitely hard for Nico to get in a rhythm because, a lot of people complain about Nico being offsides, but Nico is always making runs, and a majority of the time when he's offsides, it's just because the pass didn't come early enough, or Katai took an extra touch, or Bronico took an extra touch. So a lot of those offsides aren't on Nico, but it's good to see that the Fire are finally looking for that run. So they're finally looking for that run, but that's actually not how Nico scored. But either way, great to see Nico score back-to-back goals, ex-MLS Golden Boot winner, and finally he's scoring some goals.
Yeah, that's good to see him getting into a little bit of form at least. And he's just, he could do that in his sleep.
He's such a warrior, man. The dude just works, and he just does what he's told. And
hard worker, always running, and just a great finisher.
Yeah.
Katai, little subdued this game. Was still quite creative, quite dangerous on the ball, but got, kind of like a candle, just kind of snuffed out a little bit.
He held onto the ball a little bit too much. I mean, there's a couple times where Basti was out wide, and he just had to slip him in, or Nico's making a run. He just had to slip him in, and he held on to the ball a little too much today, and he had some opportunities to get some assists, and he just didn't look for that pass.
What about the kids here?
The kids, so Collier came in. I mean, you always notice Collier, but he didn't do much with, he just didn't really do much with it in the final third.
A lot with the possession, but he does show up and he gets the ball every so often, and he almost created a chance or two.
Baccaro
didn't see enough.
Yeah, I don't know. Didn't see enough,
but he really wasn't out there long.
He's big,
but he didn't really do a lot.
Yeah, we got big when we got Collier, Baccaro, and Chani in. Still slow, but
maybe
we got
won
big.
A couple more aerials. And then Chani
was noticeably pretty good, actually.
Noticeable.
Yeah.
And good.
Yeah, and we've been really rough on him. I think everyone has been. But last couple times he's come in for 15, 20 minutes, he's been pretty good.
Pretty solid.
So, any last final thoughts for you, Jimmy?
Yeah, it might not have been the result that we wanted, but still, I think we're seeing solid signs from the Fire that, that there's still some signs of life here. They're not out of it. Mm-hmm. They're not out of the playoff hunt by any means. They're sitting right there in 7th place, I think, right now. They have Philadelphia, maybe with a game in hand, only could jump 3 points ahead, all the same. But still, at this point of the race, you're still in it, and there's maybe 1 or 2 spots up for grabs.
They need... We made a great our last episode. We talked about how maybe we don't need a cam. Maybe we really don't need a winger, and we'd probably benefit more from a center back and a right back. And I think that was never more. Yeah, basically shore up the back line, and that was never more evident than this last game. I mean, again, look at the stats. We pretty much won every offensive stat, but the defensive ones, and that is a theme we've seen for the last 4 or 5 games now. And we lose aerials. We're small. We're slow. And offensively, some of those guys aren't skilled enough going forward. So that back line is really where I think the Fire need to focus their resources. And if they do, I mean, again, those 3 in the middle are humming. Those 3 forwards, we can deal with finding, working out with one of those guys we have as a winger, whether that's a Campos, a Lucho, or an MDL coming back. But really, it's that back line. I mean, I don't think Kevin Ellis is going to be the answer going forward. He scored 2 goals in a row, and then nothing. So, I mean, I wouldn't get too excited about Kevin Ellis. Corrales, shift Brandon out there. We need a real center back. So, really, it's just that back line. It just needs to get cleaned up if we want to be a successful football team and make the playoffs.
I don't think Brandon Vincent's the answer at second center back. I don't think that Ellis is the answer at right back, and I don't think that Corrales is the answer at left back. That's 3 huge, clearly big holes that you still got to fill, and one of them
you don't know if Campos is the answer at right back when he was playing there.
True, so, but one of these is easily filled by moving Brandon Vincent out to left back. Then you only have to fill the hole at center back and right back,
and then you have Willard, Campbell, and Kappelhoff, who you figured should be okay enough.
And this is what I wrote down here, though, is by continually choosing this sub-6 foot back line, besides Campbell, obviously, it's continual death by rifle squad, because you could just keep shooting in these crosses, and all you have to do is have some height to beat the Fire.
These 6 foot huge strikers are just torching the Fire.
And then you concentrate on Katai, and then that's the Fire's game plan.
Boom, done. Yep. And then you isolate Katai, make him take a couple too many touches so that Nico's offside, and then there you go. That's the defensive game plan. But they have been scoring. That's the frustrating part. They have been scoring. They just need to be better defensively. And it's not like their defensive shape is that bad. It's just really, I think, the back line is struggling, and Richard too at times.
And the biggest question is the answer for the back line
here
on this team, and how if it is, how have we not seen it?
Yeah.
How has it not gotten there? Is it because of injury? Is it because of Knox? Is it because of not trusting?
We haven't seen enough of Lillard.
Why is Corrales the choice left back? When did this happen? Why is that still a thing? Why is Ellis the choice right back? Why is Brandon Vincent the choice center back?
Yeah. It's frustrating after repeat performance. I mean, again, we're not trying to call out these guys. I just feel like some of them are playing out of position.
We gotta maybe understand that maybe these are the best talented guys that Pano has to deal with. And this is maybe Pano.
You're right.
Maybe this is Pano saying to Nelson, hey, you want me to play the best guys I got? These are the best guys I got. And look, I'm playing a 5'11" center back. I'm playing a USL level left back. I'm playing a USL level right back.
No, that's definitely a possibility.
And I'm still getting points here, and you are not getting me the players that I need to have success.
Yeah, Nelson definitely needs to shore up that back line. And hey, even if we take another offensive weapon, of course we'll both be happy for that.
Absolutely, either way.
Anyways, I think that's all I got, James. And anything else for you?
Torres to Australia.
Oh,
the Fernando Torres saga continues.
I didn't know.
I heard that. No, I mean I heard it continue that he might be going to Australia instead of China. Who knows what's going on? But as
I would love to play in Australia.
Yeah, but I don't want him on the Fire. I think we would be better served getting a right winger, a center back, a goalkeeper.
Revamp that whole back line. Losing Matt Polster killed this
Lucas
team.
Piszczek, get a right back because we really sorely need one. Oh, things like that. So I don't know.
All right, I'd
stuff for another day.
Again, sorry for taking a little break there for 4th of July. We're back at it, and we'll be producing content for you guys. Thanks for being patient. We'll see you guys. Anything for you, Jamesy?
Hope you had a happy Independence Day. We'll see you guys later on more Spinning Fire. Toss us a like if you enjoyed the analysis and conversation. We'll see you guys later.
See you guys.